Hey everyone, hope y'all had a great weekend. Thanks for joining me on November 27th. And as always, we are not financial advisors, and everything you see on here is for educational purposes only. Alright, let's get started with BTC. Alright, and we actually had a nice drop. We went up, we hit a weak reversal fib, we talked about pushing back down. Yesterday, we were on a weak reversal fib. This technically hinted, hey, it might go back up, but we broke that overnight. So we dropped nicely. And this is actually following what we're supposed to do now. Remember how I talked about we should go all the way until either Sunday or Monday, we should drop back down, to do this part here, because we've been in this little area for a while. So now we should technically be in this part. So we should be doing this part next. And it's on its way there. We'll have to see how we play out today. When we look at the hourly, it actually touched the bottom channel. So we touched the bottom channel on the hourly, but not on the 4 hours. And the 4 hours we talked about coming back down to the 36,600. It actually might still play out. We went all the way down to 36,700, so close enough. The channel was a little bit higher, so I was like, hey, technically it's 36,900 instead of the 36,600 area, because again, it adjusts over time, but we might still hit that. So we've been doing like the down, up, down, up, down, up. This time it went up twice. So we're going to come back down, touch that bottom one. After this, we're going to be open to go either up or down. An hourly, same thing. It'll still open to go either way. So it's a good sign. So it still shows that it's still open to push back down. We're still not on any reversal fib, so it could also continue to push back down. And we talked about how we've gone sideways for such a long time, to where we're due for a breakout, right? Kind of like here, it's due for a breakout here. This kind of went for a long time here. This went for a really long time before dropping down, but I wouldn't even call that a breakout, but usually we go for a sideways for a while and then have some sort of move. Now, based off of this, like if we do this here, we kind of went up a little higher. So that was the U there. That does this. I'm going to stretch it out a little bit to make it fit better. Push it down here. So it'd be something like that, where we came back up, kind of went sideways, even though it had like a drop, like this drop here, it came right back up to the top. So we went back up, came back down, came all the way back to the top, and this is where we're at now. We're starting to drop back down, and if we follow somewhat of its pattern, it might be a little short on the 34,120. So it might be short there. Come back up, we go sideways, maybe make a second attempt, and then we do a little pump, and then eventually we break down. So we might not touch our 34,120 target until like December, until we hit that end of the year cycle where we switch to an up year. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to watch it play out. We know a lot of the alts are hinting, hey, we still have to come back down, even though they're pushing, they're taking their turns pushing back up. We're dropping down more. Nice. Yeah, so I mean, if we drop down to the 34, it'll be even nicer, because then that means we'll drop a little bit lower. Like if we touch this, then we know we're gonna go lower than that. But if we don't touch it and it holds, then we know we're gonna touch it towards the end of the year. And in that time, the alt can continue dropping, because Bitcoin needs to continue to go sideways upward for them to continue to take turns pumping. Like for right now, Luna's pumped, right? And it's funny because we actually had the second hour target. And I remember a long time ago, I did tell CryptoBull, I'm like, well, you're down here. We were somewhere down here. And I was like, look, technically it has to come all the way back up. And it took a while, but it did. But the thing about this, though, is because of this. Remember, this little pattern here usually always tells us that it has to come back down to that. So, it's like, do we just dump our Luna? Because if it dumps all the way back down to that, that's gonna suck. Because you're talking about 57% drop, which I mean, it's not too much nowadays. It's like whatever. AIOZ still having a nice day today, but again, it's still holding at this area here. Remember, breakout price will be somewhere up here. Like if you sold it and it pumps, you want to get back in here, so you write it up. But this could be building support here where it goes this, like that, and then eventually starts to push back down to this. Going back to Luna, so remember, like I said, like if you want to, know where's a good price to DCA in, we always go based off of, we use the date tool. We go kind of like in the middle of like the previous little section. You go to the very top, and then this will tell you like, this is like the middle section from where like the middle average price to where it's at now, like the normal, the middle of its pump. So this is where you would want to buy. And as certain coins continue to pump, for example, like other coins, what was a coin that pumped even more? For example, Atlas, right? We had a previous high before. We retraced, but it came back up. So this will not have to be adjusted. So like we'd have to go all the way to the very top. And this is like the new entry point where it's like, all right, you want to at least have it come back somewhere to this area before you want to start buying, kind of a thing. Let's see. I mean, if this closes if this closes in green and it retraces all the way down, that's gonna be a good sign because it's a group of green candles. That means it would come all the way back up to the top after it retraces, of course. And when it comes down to the alts, to be honest, unless like you're hurting for money, I would take profit. But in the meantime, I wouldn't be taking profits on none of these things. Like, unless it's a coin that you like really don't want. Dang, so we had a big drop today. Unless it's a coin you really don't want, then you can take profit and get the coins you do want. But other than that, I wouldn't be. I mean, even Luna Sea, like I wouldn't get out all the way until, like I'm not gonna get out until we're in a bull market. I'm not even gonna risk because again, getting out and then playing that game of like, oh, let me see how low it's gonna go and I'll get back in. It's the same game as like the people who waited this whole time to not buy anything, right? Because like, oh, somebody in Woo Woo says like, oh, it's gonna continue to dump even lower, like 10K, 20K. When in reality it's like we've been buying since here. We bought the dumps here, oops, this area here where it dropped back down. This is the only time we didn't buy, right? This is the only time that we didn't buy. And if this whole time you haven't bought any coins, this is exactly what I've said many, many times. Don't aim for the lowest price. If you're aiming for the lowest price, you're going to get left behind. And if you're somebody who hasn't bought anything yet again, if you look at it now, look, you're getting left behind. This is why it's important. If you don't have any coins at all, you gotta have at least a bag, even if it's already pumped. Start a little bag, so at least you have something, and then you DCA every time it dumps, right? You don't want to get left behind, because again, we've been following the year cycle, and that's been one of our best things, right? We know this is a sideways year, this is the up year. You don't only want to buy in the up year, you should be buying in the sideways years, and hopefully we can have a nice little drop back down, at least down to the 34,120. This will be the second time we're gonna buy. So then down the road we're gonna be like, okay, and we bought. So we missed that one, but we bought this dip and we bought this dip as it's going up and up and up, right? So the same scenario is gonna happen here. Even though we missed one, it's all right. We'll still have more. But one, we have to be patient. Even though these coins are pumping, like you don't want to be, oh, I'm missing out. You'll still have a little bit of time. But this is what I mean. And the reason I bring this up is because this is going to happen on the opposite side, right? So let's say, oh, Bitcoin continues to go, oh, Bitcoin's 150K. Hey guys, time to take our profits. I'm going to start DCAing out. I'm selling here, I'm selling here, I'm selling here, I'm selling here. And people are going to have that same mentality. Oh, well, I want to sell at the top. Woo Woo said it's going this. This other guy said it's going to do this. Shiba $1. Shiba's giving you 20x already. But, someone said $1, 30x. So you're going to wait for that 30x. And all of a sudden, it's dumping back down. And you're like, oh, but we never went to $1. Same scenario is happening here. Like, if you haven't been buying every dip, like, for example, I posted on here. And I'm bringing this up because I want people to understand, right? Like, all this time that we posted on here, like, hey, I'm buying. There's other people in here buying. And I'm sure right now they feel great. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who bought and didn't post on here, right? Because sometimes it's better not to post nothing. Like, the people who've been buying here, have done really good. And even Reggie buying more Palm. But I'm trying to bring this in because now you can look back and be like, oh, he was right. If I hadn't been buying, I would have been left behind. So I want you to have that same mindset. When it comes to selling, we got to have that same mindset. It might go higher, right? We're going to sell and it might go a little higher, but then it's going to dump a lot lower. It's kind of like how, you know, back here in that November time, I forgot was it Jill or Sally, or I don't remember the lady's name, but she said, hey, if you sold in November, you would be okay. And people were like, no, SL or other people said it's looking like, you know, it's working the moon and, you know, Shiba $1. Look what happened afterwards. So that's why I'm bringing this up, right? And if you're someone that hasn't bought, don't freak out. There's still time. Soon we're gonna switch over to, hey, just buy whenever you have money. Don't look at what the price is. Just get your bags, because you already, you know, missed the bottom. You need to get in, you know, while we're still okay, and then know that if I'm starting to sell at the when I think is the top, or I feel like it's a good spot to, you know, take profits, you might want to kind of like follow what I'm doing, right? You don't have to get all out. Again, we haven't been spending crazy money, but we've been buying in here and there, and there's still some coins I wish I would have bought more. And it's funny though, because remember I always said that we're gonna look back and say, man, I wish I bought more. I have a lot of Atlas. But after seeing this huge ass pump, I wish I bought more, right? We're going to think about that of coins that are not pumped yet. You know, we hear so much good things about HBAR. We're going to look back one day and be like, oh man, I wish I bought more. And this is why I keep bringing up like, oh, well, you know, we should have been buying. You should have been buying. If you haven't, obviously there's a lot of people that posted that they did. So, you know, I'm happy about that because I want to make sure everybody's successful. But again, I like to stress this out and be repetitive sometimes, because it's like, look, it played out exactly like I said. You know, if you don't buy now, you're going to look back and be like, oh man, I wish I bought. Everything's pumped over 100%, because everything is about 100% now. So everything's 100% more expensive. You know, let's see. Go to WebAI real quick. I know this is a pretty long video, 12 minutes. WebAI, you know, we mentioned how we have to come back up here to the 179. We dropped under it, but luckily, you know, thanks to that NVIDIA program thing, it went all the way back up to $2. So that gave people time to get out at profits. It came back down. It's actually still holding on this trend line. So in theory, if it holds up, it's gonna come back up to the top. I don't know if I can use that still, or if it would be something like the new top would be something like this, where it's either we go all the way to the top, we'll make this green, or it only goes up to here, we'll make this yellow, or we'll make this orange, right? Do we only go to the new top, new resistance area, or do we go to the very top? The top will be $2.05. Oh, the first target will be $2.05. Second target will be $2.80 if it hits that way. From where it's at now, you know, another 80%. So it's holding pretty good even then. Remember, we bought at 88 cents, still 147 or 149. So we're still dropping there. So it's looking good. Again, my pockets have been burning too. So if this plays out nicely, it's gonna be great. Because again, I want to buy. If we get close to that, even if we get close to the 34, 120, we can buy now. We'll wait for it goes up, and if it comes back down, we'll buy again. Remember, we want to buy every dip. Alright, so I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to make the video too long now. We're already at almost 15 minutes. So if you made it this far, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the Discord.